welcome to the Cattle Show. My name is Jerry Lipsey and I'm the Executive Vice President of the American Simmental Association. We're headquartered in Bozeman, Montana. Simmental cattle changed the beef business in the United States in the late 1960s. Continental cattle came to this country and Simmental were part of that importation, and the muscle and the milk and the growth of these cattle just changed the way that we did business in this country. Besides that, when the American Simmental Association was formed in the late 1960s, a new way of doing business occurred among breed associations. We were focused on performance records. We were focused on genetic evaluation. It wasn't just a society anymore. It was a scientific approach to making better cattle and better beef. You're going to meet Marty Ropp, our Director of Field Operations for the entire nation, and he's going to take you on a tour of some cattle operations here in Montana. Hope you enjoy yourself. Welcome to the Cattle Show.
My name is Marty Ropp. I'm the Director of Field Operations for the American Simmental Association, and we're here in Judith Gap, Montana on an absolutely beautiful day here on the E.L. Peterson Ranch. Dean, why don't you tell us a little bit about the ranch and your operation?
We farm and ranch north of Judith Gap, Montana, and we operate on about 6,500 acres. Run around 400 cows, 400 sheep. We have a lovely weed they call leafy spurge, and that's how we manage that. We crop 1,000, 1,500 acres of crop ground, plus raise all our own hay, and we have all our own grass. And it's all privately owned except for a little bit of a lease. And it's dealt us well. My parents moved here in 1950. The last 5 years been kind of droughty. This year's it's excellent. We also have a feedlot backgrounding. We used to finish cattle. We lost our packing houses in Montana, so we went away from that just to backgrounding and heifer development. And normally we do 700-800 head of backgrounding and develop and AI heifers.
At American Simmental, one of the things that has been a theme throughout the years and we believe sets us apart from some of our competitors is our commitment to research, sire evaluation, and a scientific approach to breed improvement. Dean, why don't you tell us a little bit about the program that we've been working with you?
We've been working with the Simmental Association concerning the breeding of our cows to low birth weight cattle to start with. We've moved into broader areas since then. We keep track of the cattle from birth to slaughter, keep all of birth calving data, which is done by the MSU college students, full AI heifers, and then we've gradually gone into all the cows too.
This is one of the first operations where we began to utilize virgin heifers and breed Simmental bulls to first calf British heifers to do Cavanese research and to try to identify elite Cavanese lines within the Simmental breed, as well as collect the carcass data and some of the tenderness information. That was the plan of the program from the beginning. If someone had a set of British cows and they were going to introduce Simmental bulls onto them and then follow those cattle through, what might they expect as far as carcass traits and that kind of information for the performance of the progeny they'll get?
As far as carcass trait is, they're going to get a heavier, bigger carcass sooner in their life. Not necessarily bigger in the end, but they're going to do it sooner. They're more efficient, and they do better as a backgrounding cow and as a calf. You'll wean 50 pounds heavier than you would a pure English animal. We're in the business to raise pounds. Quality is good, but if you don't have pounds, you don't have anything. So if you can do both, and that's where I think we're approaching that now.
How about maternal traits? You know, as you've turned the herd into more of a 50% continental, 50% British kind of a commercial cow herd, how has that affected fertility and longevity and things like that?
We're about the same where we were before. We still get 90-95%. On these sires that we're using for these cattle, we're using a test sire and some new sires, because you got to get some information on young sires. You get some information. Somebody's got to do that. And so Simmental Association is making that call on sire selection on these. If I find a bull like I really like, I'll ask, well, let's make that test sire again, and again, Marty, how do you determine that?
Our members actually nominate the bulls that will be tested in the Carcass Merit Program. They try to identify young sires that maybe have exceptional potential to prove themselves in the Cavanese project here or with their calves and feed yard. And ultimately, again, we've collected a tremendous amount of tenderness data. The longer we go on with these programs, the more consistent and more valuable young sires we identify. But without the commitment of our membership to spend the dollars that it takes to do these programs, at the association, we couldn't sustain a program, especially of this magnitude. One of the reasons that we choose to work with the ranches that we do in this program is their commitment to record keeping and commitment to collection of quality data and keeping identification of the calves. One of the biggest challenges we have is keeping that identification from birth all the way through to harvest and even to cuts that we might use for further research for beef quality. Tell us a little bit more about the history of your record keeping. I know that you not only do that for us, but you also manage some projects with Montana State University, and they really appreciate the way you folks keep records as well.
Well, we've always been interested in records, and how you manage those is a challenge and continues to be a challenge. If you don't keep track of numbers, how are you going to cull a cow? You got to have a reason for selling that cow over the next cow, or that keeping that heifer or not. Every time we work a cow, she goes through the chute, she gets weighed, she gets recorded. Whatever we're doing with them, we probably have more information than we use, but if we don't keep it, you can't use it. Keeping track of the information is kind of fun, and Trudy is our main record keeper person. I mean, I might help get it on the paper, but somebody's got to manage it after that, and that's where my wife comes in.
And you said that every cow and calf on the farm, on top of the visual ID, also has electronic identification?
Yes. We felt there is it's coming. We're going to get that anyhow. So the sooner we learn how to use it and deal with it, the better off we are. And we are. We're pretty comfortable about using it. And dealing with it, we just can't get everybody that we deal with involved in using it. And that's part of it. Somebody's got to prod us. It's our turn to prod somebody else now to get that information and use it to its fullest ability.
The future belongs to those that planned for it. And at Nichols Farm, Simmentals are going to play an important role in the future of seed stock. It won't be purebred Simmentals, but rather it will be composites which will contain various percentages of Simmentals. In America, 100% of the wheat flour, 100% of the vegetables and fruits we eat are indeed composites. 95% of the pork we eat are from composites. 100% of the chickens and their eggs are composites. The future belongs to those breeders and those beef producers that utilize what Simmentals through retained heterosis in composite cattle can contribute. I'm excited about the future, and I'm excited because the beef industry finally is taking the steps to compete with our other competing meats.
As an observer of the Simmental breed, Sim Angus is clearly one of the superior composites in the beef industry, and I think it's a huge compliment that Simmental breeders have done such a good job of putting the best of the Angus breed with the best of the Simmental breed to develop a composite that is being so well accepted and utilized in the industry.
Well, Simmental were one of those principal continental breeds that gave us immediate increases in growth rate and in lean tissue growth rate and in efficiency of lean tissue gain. They also, when we characterized them, we found they reached puberty quite early, had outstanding maternal performance. The other thing they did was require record of performance for registration. This created the database that led to genetic evaluations, and the Simmental Association led the way in national sire evaluation, in creating genetic evaluations that spanned all herds based on the use of widespread AI and widespread use of many bulls. We've been able to have the kind of genetic evaluations that we've come to recognize and use today. We call expected progeny differences, or EPDs.
We've been raising Hereford cattle for years, and the half-bloods and three-quarter bulls that we sold our customers were increasing weaning weights of our customers' calves by 75 to 100 pounds, and that was pretty neat.
I think the Simmental breed has done a really good job in terms of research and development over the last 5 to 7 years, particularly on the carcass front. I think it's really improved their image in the commercial industry. I think they are seen as the maternal continental breed of choice, not only because the Sim Angus females are very marketable in the commercial industry, but also because you've made huge strides in doing a good job of being able to genetically describe your cattle.
I think in the future, seed stock producers are going to be much more focused on their customer needs and providing an end product for the consumer as well. And I think the Simmental breeds had a great past and will even have a brighter future. They have a passionate, dedicated group of breeders who are committed to the goals of commercial cattlemen.
Our commercial guys have used these Mercanized Simmentals to increase their weaning weights, make the replacement females worth a whole lot more in terms of dollars per head. We put the convenience pole gene and solid color gene in the cattle so they'll be marketable in our feeder calf sales.
The Simmental today have evolved into a more moderate framed, heavy muscled breed made up of pure Simmental as well as composites, the Sim Angus, which complements heterosis and the resurgence of crossbreeding that we've seen in the nation's cow herd.
Our producers can utilize that and gain the heterosis that we have failed to take a look at on a regular basis today. Simmental bulls will add that thing that we need in the Missouri grass country, add some bulk and some rib capacity and some growability, and we just really think that's a good fit for us.
Simmental genetics, whether we're talking about it as a purebred or blended as with Bos Indicus genetics and the Simbrol. As a purebred Simmental, I think they have a great deal to offer in terms of breed effects for growth and maternal ability and carcass merit. And as we use those Sim genetics in composite traits, whether we're using it on the sire side or the dam side, we're able to blend them in and create cattle that will work and function in nearly any environment.
I run a large heifer development facility in southwest Nebraska, and we have seen Sim Cross heifers do a particularly nice job performing in our situation from the standpoint of reproductive performance and also from a standpoint of maintenance feed costs. These cattle really offer some things that the cattle industry could use.
We're here at Gateway Simmental with Jim Butcher this afternoon and up at their summer range. The Butcher family's been in the Simmental business about as long as anybody in the United States. I want to ask Jim to tell us just a little bit about his operation.
Of course, we're a purebred Simmental composite operation. This is our summer place. This ranch summers about 850 pairs and 400 yearlings.
How many years has the Butcher family been in the Simmental business? I know it's been about as long as we've had an association, maybe just a little bit longer.
Well, our ASA number's 357, and my dad AI'd his first cows in the spring of '68. And we've seen a lot of modifications.
Well, why don't you tell me a little bit about those modifications? When we first imported Simmental cattle, we brought them over and they became popular because they had a tremendous amount of growth.
Yeah.
Maternal traits were excellent. They added muscle and cutability to the cow herd, and they brought some extra fertility both with the breed and with crossbreeding programs. Tell me a little bit about the changes that occurred over the next 20, 30 years in the breed to make them what we now call American Simmental.
Well, in the early 70s, when the bulls actually started getting sold and the semen was getting used, it was on predominantly Hereford cattle. Milk was one of the major factors that people liked about the Simmental because some of the Hereford cattle needed a little more milk. A lot of people tried a lot of different breeds too. That's when Angus really got its stronghold and added a lot of its market share. As the transformation occurred in the 80s from a red herd more to a black herd, that's when we decided we needed to make our Simmentals black. The later in the 90s you went, there got to be more of a premium for the higher marbling cattle. That's where we thought that we needed to breed some more composite cattle. It was a way that we could keep the marbling on the edge and then still work on the retail product. Our customers and us depend on convenient, easy calving, easy to manage cattle. Calving ease is about #1 on our selection criteria list. And consequently, with calving ease comes lower birth weights, and with lower birth weights it helps your fertility because your cows don't have to work as hard calving. Our customers, a lot of the reason that they use our bulls is to add heterosis and improve the weaning weights, efficiency of the cattle. The growth is very important, but we won't compromise calving ease to get the growth. Today, if you look back on the EPDs of the old bulls from 20 years ago, it's real easy to see the progress that we've made. You kind of got to go with the balance now. It's more important than ever. And then once you've got your balance, you can add the carcass.
You've sent reams of carcass data to the Simmental Association and had quite a few of your bulls tested. How would you expect your customers' cattle to perform in a feed yard and maybe perform on the rail as well? What might you tell a new customer that was coming to you that had those kind of questions?
If they hadn't used Simmental before and had straight British bred, either Black Angus, Red Angus, Hereford Angus cross, the first thing that they would notice is that you would increase the ribeyes by 1 or 2 inches per carcass. There would be a lot less external fat and the yield grades would improve significantly. I firmly believe that we have bulls in the Simmental that will marble with the best of any other breed on a percentage basis. We're fine-tuning what's under the hide. By that I mean we're adding retail product, reducing the waste fat, and improving the muscling on the cattle. We had 116 head of steers we killed this year in 4 different groups on our home-raised cattle. They averaged 81% choice. It wouldn't have mattered what grid they would have been on, they would have made a premium. A lot of the profit made in cattle feeding is made from feeding them from 1150 to 13.5 weight-wise. And if you can feed an animal to 1350 when cost of gains are 40 to 50 cents and cattle are worth 80 plus, those extra 200 pounds that you can put on without getting discounted for 4s adds up to some real money.
Jim, I know you're familiar with, and we certainly are, with the data that comes from the U.S. Meat Animal Research Center, the MARC data, kind of as the gold standard of genetic evaluation, breed evaluations. When you look down a broad array of traits down that list, whether it be calving ease, carcass traits, even efficiency traits, Simmental ranks at or near the top in almost every category among the continental breeds, and Angus would be the high-ranking breed among the British breeds. Jim, we focused a lot on your black program, and yet we know your red program is very important to you, as it is to many Simmental breeders across the U.S.
As most of you know, there are red cattle and there's black cattle throughout the northern tier. The principles apply the same in red as they do in black. There's people that like red cattle and there's people that like black cattle. So we have to have both colors of Simmental cattle to market to them. The red program is on a much smaller scale simply because of the amount of red cattle in this state versus the black cattle, but it's just as important and the principles are still the same.
Sure. And certainly the farther we get into this industry and the farther we get into paying real value for the cattle, the less and less important hide color and things like that will be.
Yep. And another thing that we should mention about the red cattle is that's the most popular
Progressive
color
feedlot
of
owners
cattle
and managers
throughout the world.
are finding
the
that
black cattle
Simmental
may be the
genetics
most
are a
popular
perfect
here,
fit
but
for today's challenging
worldwide,
feeding environment.
there are more red cattle than there are black
Tracy
cattle.
Bruner
Absolutely.
of Cow Camp Feed Yard sees these genetics work well every day at his feed yard in central Kansas. Here Tracy explains how and why Simmental genetics are his choice for the breed that best suits his operation.
Hi, I'm Tracy Bruner, Cow Camp Feed Yard. We are the 4th generations of Bruners that are farming, ranching, and feeding cattle here at Ramona, Kansas. Our objective is to achieve the maximum value for every animal that goes through our operation. And in doing that, we focus on what we can learn about individual animal management as well as genetic evaluation of those animals. We primarily try and achieve maximum animal value or carcass value on every animal. We harvest on value-based grids, which allows us to evaluate those animals and on individual returns. We try and feed those cattle to a maximum end value endpoint, realizing that there are limits. The market tells us there are limits in carcass size and other carcass traits that are constantly changing as well.
Lloyd Baxley of Baxley Family Farms has seen the benefits of using Simmental genetics in the day-to-day production of his cow herd in the southeast. His diversified farm is the perfect proving ground for the versatile genetics of Simmental cattle to increase efficiency and profit. Lloyd captures even more value for these genetics by retaining ownership through the feed yard, a position in the beef industry where Simmental genetics excel.
My name's Lloyd Baxley, and with Baxley Family Farms, and we have a row crop operation. We also grow peanuts and cotton. We've got a Sim-Angus cow herd, a Simmental cow herd, an Angus cow herd, and we've been at this probably, the Sim-Angus deal, probably about 25 years, and they've done an excellent job with us. The Sim-Angus cattle are just make excellent mother cows. We really have been impressed over the years on their longevity, and we get a really nice calf crop off of them every year, and we're making a lot of progress. We've been AIing probably nearly every cow we have the last several years. We're doing a little bit of embryo transfer. The steers are shipped to Cow Camp Ranch with Tracy Bruner and the Bruner brothers most every year, and they've done extremely well. Our heifers are probably about 95% retained, and we AI them, then put in a cleanup bull, and we got a tremendous market for the Sim-Angus heifers. We can't nearly satisfy the demand, but Sim-Angus cattle we love them. I think they're the future of the industry. You can get just about anything you want in a Simmental bull. You can get a bull with a little more gas, so to speak, or you can get a bull with that you can breed to heifers. And I'm really proud of the fact that we can sell producers just about anything they need. I'm just real excited to be just a small part of the Simmental business. I think they've done an outstanding job. The Carcass Merit Program, the API, the Terminal Index, they're real easy to use. I think that Simmental Association is by far ahead of all the other associations, and I'm really proud to be a part of it there.
Cattle Show. My name is Jerry Lipsey, and I'm the Executive Vice President of the American Simmental Association. We're headquartered in Bozeman, Montana. Simmental cattle changed the beef business in the United States in the late 1960s. Continental cattle came to this country, and Simmental were part of that importation, and the muscle and the milk and the growth of these cattle just changed the way that we did business in this country. Besides that, when the American Simmental Association was formed in the late 1960s, a new way of doing business occurred among breed associations. We were focused on performance records. We were focused on genetic evaluation. It wasn't just a society anymore. It was a scientific approach to making better cattle and better beef.
How many of you, when you make your selection decisions, use an index? I think more of you should raise your hands. Actually, everyone, if you make any selection decisions, like it or not, you're using an index. It might be your own index, but it's an index. Okay? So, and it might be written down on a piece of paper. It might be just in your head. And you might do it when you're just sitting in a sale barn, the bulls are flying by you, but you've got some index you're putting together to make that selection decision. So what I want to talk about this morning is an index, the theory of the economic selection index, the scientific method of applying, using all of these EPDs that we put together that Lauren and Jackie talked about, these genetic levels, and actually coming up with the mathematically correct weightings on all of those EPDs.
Again, just a big thanks to all the trustees that have been involved in this. And of course, without the staff, we wouldn't have got any of it done. So thanks to them.
So, Daryl didn't say this, but actually he was the backup middle linebacker to Mike Singletary. Actually, he was a Chicago Bear, but he got hurt the year before they made the Super Bowl. So he didn't get a ring, but anyway, I didn't want to rub that in. But, You know, I'm a Viking fan. So. Anyway, we're here to have fun. We're here. So, we're here to have fun.
That's neat.
And at the same time, we're here to thank all of you for making this possible. And it's truly, we are a membership organization, and the members are what make this possible. Now, I wrote in the history pamphlet that was inside on the desk inside. I wrote that for most of us here, this is a one-time in a lifetime event. For most of us, it's probably not going to be one time. There's only going to be one time we see ASA christen a building. But there are a few people here that have seen more than one christening of new buildings at ASA. We're going to hear from some of them. I would also like to say thanks. We ASA employees, thank you immensely. And you can't imagine, I was quite surprised myself at how much a building like this can raise employee spirits. Now, it's not like, I mean, our employees generally have good spirits. I'm not saying they don't, but I have to say I was surprised at how it just put a little extra skip in their step. And just as an example, this old guy, where is he? Right back in there. Steve McGuire, the longest running employee ASA has ever had, 43 years. Now, and Steve, we had to pry him out of the old building. We actually had to pry him. I'd go over there every 3-4 weeks after everybody else had moved. Steve was still camped out at the old building. We didn't think we'd ever get him over here. He finally made the transition, and just the other day he admitted to me that when he comes to work, he looks forward to it just a little bit more because we have this building. So thank you. Now, if you saw Steve's office, he's got the penthouse suite right there. So, you know why he's smiling. So our employees now, they smile when they come to work and they smile when they leave. And thank you.
Today we were here at the International Genetic Solutions Conference talking about the new Bolt software, the new genetic evaluation, multi-breed genetic evaluation. I believe we're opening the door to a brand new frontier of genetic evaluation. Multi-breed, 12 different breed associations working together.
Yes, the technology is is amazing. Like that's an appropriate word to describe what we're seeing from the technology side, but almost equally, or maybe equally as amazing, is the fact that we have all of these associations working together on something that really is at the core of our very existence.
It's going to be a lot more seamless evaluation where we can get in data and shoot out data. It'll be a lot faster, which is why we can have those more frequently. And it'll also be more accurate. We're going to have a better prediction of an animal's genetic merit and be able to use the genomic information, the actual genomic information, instead of blending in molecular breeding values. We'll use the actual genotypes, and that'll be a lot more powerful.
Every new model changes results, it re-ranks, and that gets your members' attention. We all know that. And you know, somebody goes up and somebody goes down, right? And so we do have to get ahead of the curve as much as we can. And we actually talked about that in one of our meetings last night in terms of preparing the membership for change. It's change. We believe in the technology. We believe it's going to be a better model.
My kids go to a school where there's 65 kids in the school, 7 through 12. And the kids do everything. They play basketball, they play football, they run track, they're in one act, they're in speech, they're in all these different deals. And you cannot imagine the fight that happens for their time between the coaches of each of those deals. And it drives you nuts. Why can't they just get along? And on a much bigger scale here, y'all are trying to get along. It's huge. It's something I've looked for a long time. You know, because as a commercial producer, we just want the truth.
I want to recognize the progress and achievement of where we're at, and compliment IGS and everyone involved in it, because I think it's there is no way that you can not recognize the great opportunity that's here. But also think we need to recognize that there's still a lot of work to be done.
You can pick out the best bull across 13 different breeds and know that he has the most solid genetic prediction that you can have in the world.
Our customers can buy bulls from us and make selection decisions, make their calves better, make their cow herd stronger, and you know, that's really what you get down to a common denominator.
And now we're able to do that and supply the commercial industry where they know the value of crossbreeding, and not only supply the commercial cow-calf producer, but the feeder, the packer, and the consumer with the best product that can be made. And the most sustainable product, because if nothing else, the maternal efficiencies that are done through crossbreeding are something that will help sustain the beef industry throughout the future.
You've got an opportunity here for a really big increase in heterosis and get actual comparisons across breeds, so you can go pick up that heterosis. It's free. Look at the change that your life has gone through in this industry. Just imagine what the change is going to be in the future. And if we get our breed associations to collaborating, we get our commercial breeders to collaborating, pretty soon our purebred breeders are going to give up their religion a little bit, and they're going to collaborate with one another. And now we got an industry that's got some power and some strength, and together we can win the big game.
There's differences in populations, data sets, approaches, and some of you that know me have heard me say this before, but a large part of it was pride, prejudice, and politics of breed associations. And that's what this is about more than anything. It's getting breed associations to work together to provide data for all of our customers to produce better beef and make some money.
My commercial customers are looking for the best bulls that fit their cows to increase their profitability and their sustainability in the cattle business. But finding that right one, we've got to measure more than just those output traits like we did with weaning weight, yearling weight, and milk. And we're measuring so many more traits, but I love the technology, and Bruce and Monty and Lauren and Wade and everybody on this team. Thanks for what you're doing.
I'm Emmy Trundle with the American Simmental Association and the Register in SimTalk magazine. I'm here to tell you guys today about the one-stop shop for AI sires, the Sire Source. This is a place to go for Simmental, SimAngus, Simbra, and Angus sires, and it went out in the April issue of the Register. If you didn't get your copy, every bull is viewable online at simmental.org year-round. It's not too late to get your sire online. Email Nancy Chesterfield at register@simgene.com if you're interested. And don't forget, the special issue of SimTalk, the membership directory, is coming out in June. Keep your eyes peeled for more about SimTalk then. And as always, remember to like, comment, and share on our social media.
Family, fun, competition, building blocks of character. Every year, the American Simmental Association and the American Junior Simmental Association organize an event that promotes Simmental and molds the character of the next generation. This event is the National Classic. And through this week of competition, young men and women are given the chance to excel, grow, and become leaders. The AJSA National Classic, shaping the new breed of leaders. The National Classic is organized and sponsored by the American Simmental Association. Throughout the years, the ASA has worked tirelessly to promote Simmental around the world. And since 1980, the ASA and the AJSA have held a national competition each year to promote leadership and hands-on education for young people across this country. The National Classic competition is open to all AJSA members ages 9 to 21, and they don't have to qualify at a regional event to enter the National. The contestants are split into two divisions. The junior division is for competitors aged 9 to 14, while the senior division is for those who are 15 to 21. Contestants can place in many different categories, and their scores from the competitions are used to determine an overall ranking for each division. Every competition centers around the cattle industry, and the most anticipated competition comes in the Simmental Show. The competition showcases both the Simmental and Simbra breeds. Each animal is judged by professionals.
I really like the blue cow prospect dinner.
The best in each breed are selected for Best of Show. The showmanship competition challenges a contestant's ability to show off his or her entry. Putting all of their experience to the test, competitors are judged by their ability to handle and present cattle. The judging contest challenges a contestant's analytical ability and verbal skills. Classes are staged in 6 different categories, and with their own knowledge of cattle combined with information given to them about each class, contestants are asked to rank each animal within their class. Junior competitors answer questions about each class of cattle, while senior competitors must make a short speech explaining their decisions. In the sales talk competition, contestants present their animal to a panel of potential buyers. They're judged on their knowledge of the animal, their organization, style, poise and delivery, and their overall effectiveness in convincing the judges to buy the animal. The sales talk competition sharpens contestants' salesmanship and their ability to interact with other people. But not all the competitions directly involve cattle. To mold the next breed of leaders, the National Classic tries to build confidence and sharpen all the skills young men and women will need for a better career, inside or out of the cattle industry. As an example, the public speaking competitions challenge a kid's ability to relate important information to an audience. Contestants are given a random topic about the cattle or beef industry and have 30 minutes to compose a 3 to 7 minute speech.
And finally, you'll look at the future of the beef industry.
After their speech, contestants are questioned and scored on their knowledge of the topic, presentation, and their response to questioning. Contestants who have graduated from high school can also compete in the interview competition. Each submits a resume and is interviewed by a panel of experts for a job in the beef industry. Contestants are judged on their rapport with interviewers, their appearance, and their resume.
Pick one activity that's been the most rewarding to you.
The competition helps young leaders feel more comfortable with the interview process they'll face as they build their careers. In our advertising and promotion competition, contestants in both divisions create an advertisement or marketing piece for the Simmental or beef cattle industry. Using materials and photos provided to them, contestants use their creativity and their knowledge of marketing to produce a promotion that will catch the judge's eye. The National Classic also tests young men and women on their knowledge of the cattle industry and of Simmental breeding. The herdsman and sire summary quizzes are 2-hour-long tests that are taken in separate sessions. These quizzes test the range of knowledge contestants have of the industry and the use of the ASA's sire summary. The AJSA National Classic also is the home of the finals for the Beef Bowl. Teams from around the nation qualify for this competition through regional events and are pitted against each other in the ultimate quiz bowl for Simmental breeders.
Lactose is a good answer.
Teams in both divisions vie in an elimination tournament for the chance to be the National Beef Bowl champions. To cap off a week of spirited competition, the awards banquet brings contestants and their families together. The award ceremony announces the winners of the individual contests and the overall champions of the Classic. The ASA and AJSA also award scholarships to those who have excelled throughout the years.
Isn't it hard? Wasn't it hard? Yeah.
AJSA steer profitability competition, while fledgling, it's only in its second year, is already pushing the envelope in what that kind of program can do.
It's a great tool to learn about feeding cattle that most people don't have a chance to do.
They can learn what it's like to own and feed cattle in a steer feed out.
The feedlot industry is real time. It's the real world, and this will give these kids more real world experience of what the end result is of everything that we do.
So they'll learn things in high school and younger that they'll put them way ahead of the curve when they get to college.
It's a huge learning experience for kids, and no matter what level they were at, I mean, if they were older kids, they got something out of the mandatory monthly meeting, but they honestly got to have a hands-on deal feeding cattle with experts.
Get involved with it, get a taste of it, put some steers in there. Maybe it's for a year, maybe it's for 4 years, and maybe it's for a lifetime, but get a taste of it and find out what it's like.
We welcome you to check us out. We think it's something that can benefit you, can benefit your family, and most importantly, can give you more awareness of the intricacies of feeding cattle and what that can mean for you long-term in your future. So again, check out the steer profitability competition.